What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to episode 13 of Manny's Food Channel. It's your boy Manny, aka Mr. Cooking It Up. And for this episode, I've been extremely busy, which secretly means extremely lazy. But I decided to make a recipe that has zero cooking involved. It's the Vietnamese salad roll with a house-made Nuoc Cham and a very simple hoisin dipping sauce. It is very easy to make, very little prep to do, and as always, absolutely freaking delicious. So let's get to it. Okay, so the very first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna rehydrate our noodles with hot water. I am probably gonna soak them for no more than 5 to 10 minutes because I don't want it to overcook. I still want it to have a nice texture and have a bit of a bite. So I'm just gonna soak this in hot water for 5-10 minutes. And while this is soaking up in the meantime, we're gonna work on our Nuoc Cham sauce. Okay, so the only thing that we have to prep for this dish is we have to thinly slice the red chili, the green onions, grate the garlic, and grate the carrots as well, and very roughly chop the coriander. So I'm just going to quickly do all this now.
So for this recipe, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Now typically when I buy this item from restaurants, sometimes I find it to be bland in the middle or a little bit dry. So what I'm going to do here is when we make the Nuoc Cham, I'm going to be combining the filling with the Nuoc Cham so I can infuse and marinate some of that flavor into the filling. And then we're going to strain off the Nuoc Cham and keep it on the side. So that way we'll still have it as a dipping sauce, but the filling will be very moist and have a lot of infused flavors in there as well. And then we're going to use the filling and we're going to roll out the shrimp salad roll.
Now when you're chopping the coriander, just tightly roll it into a cigar shape or a tight ball shape. And just very thinly slice the coriander or the cilantro. Now I'm just going to roughly chop these shrimps. Don't cut them too small, you still want a bit of that texture and you still want to be able to see that there's shrimp inside the shrimp roll. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I'm going to put it inside the vermicelli mix. So that way it can absorb some of the Nuoc Cham and some of that flavor in there as well. So I'm going to toss this in. And before we grate our carrots, I'm going to quickly chop up the vermicelli. I'm also going to do rough chop. I don't want to cut it too small because I still want to leave some of that texture in there. And the last thing we're going to do is grate the carrot. Use the largest grate shape, so that way we have a bit of texture inside the shrimp rolls. Now that all our prep is ready to go, we can start mixing the Nuoc Cham. So I'm going to start with some white vinegar, water. I'm going to toss in the coriander, the garlic, sugar, the green onions and red chilies, some fish sauce or patis, some lime juice, and we're gonna give this a quick stir, making sure all the ingredients are well incorporated and well mixed. And once it's all mixed very well together, I'm gonna add in the shrimp. I'm gonna add in the carrots as well. And finally, I'm going to add in the vermicelli noodles. And I'm going to let this soak up for probably around half an hour to an hour until some of that flavor infuses into the vermicelli and some of the flavor of the carrot releases into the Nuoc Cham. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for this, we're going to make a very quick hoisin dipping sauce. It's only got a couple of ingredients. Okay. So there's a lot of different variations of how you can make the sauce. You can add some peanuts in there, some sriracha, some sesame oil, whatever you feel like. But I'm only going to put 3 ingredients. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to put some hoisin. I like my sauce to be quite spicy, so I'm going to put a lot of spice in there. So I'm going to add a touch of hoisin. And next up, I'm going to put some sesame oil. Now remember, sesame oil is very intense, so you don't want to put too much, but if you really like sesame oil, you can definitely add more. And now I'm going to add Sriracha. I don't have any peanuts, otherwise I would have added some peanuts in this, but nonetheless, it's still going to be a delicious dipping sauce. So now I'm just going to mix this all around. These are the 3 ingredients I'm going to add. Like I mentioned, you can add any kind of ingredients you'd like in there. And now we can move on to starting to wrap the shrimp salad roll. Okay, so before I start wrapping it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strain off this mix. Now keep the sauce, keep the Nuoc Cham, because we can put it as a side dip when we're serving it. But make sure you strain it off, that way the inside doesn't get too watery and that way the rice paper can seal properly. So we're just going to strain this off. Don't squeeze out any of the juices. We marinated it for this long, so we want to keep the juices inside the vermicelli and all the carrots and shrimps and whatnot. Okay, so before we get started, make sure your station's all set up. Make sure you have a towel to wipe your hands with. Have some Thai basil that we're going to layer underneath. A bowl of warm water to rehydrate the rice paper. I have my vermicelli shrimp mix right here. And I have a plate with a damp paper towel, so as we're working through it, we're going to put the rolls underneath and it doesn't dry out. And finally, I have the rice paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the rice paper in the warm water for a maximum of 5 to 10 seconds. You don't want to do it any more than that, otherwise it will just become mush. So we're going to put it on our board very flat. Then we're going to take the Thai basil and we're just going to layer it close to the middle as so. Then we're going to get another piece of rice paper. Rehydrate that in water. And then we're going to flip it and just place it right on top and seal it from top to bottom. Don't press too hard on it. As it dries out, it will eventually stick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the vermicelli mix and be generous with it. Don't be stingy because the hero of the dish is the filling. So we're going to put a nice generous amount of filling in there. As so. Dry your hands. Then we're going to start to roll. And as we roll forward, we're going to pull everything back. So that way we keep all the filling nice and tight and evenly distributed in the middle. So we're going to pull, roll, continue to pull and roll. And as we reach just about over halfway, we're going to flip the outsides inward and continue to roll until we have a nice and tightly wrapped salad roll, just like so. And now I'm going to put it underneath the damp paper towel and continue to make more until we're completely done rolling them. And there we have it, folks. The Vietnamese shrimp roll with house-made Nuoc Cham and a very quick hoisin dipping sauce. Now let's take a bite out of it and see how it is. As always, I'm excited for the taste test. So because there's Nuoc Cham inside the wrap, I'm going to be dipping it in the house-made hoisin sauce. And I have no doubt that it's going to be absolutely delicious, so cheers. And as I mentioned, it tastes absolutely delicious. And one of the reasons being is because we marinated the filling inside the Nuoc Cham, so inside it's very flavorful and very moist as well. And it's complemented by the flavor of the hoisin sauce. So have a try, let me know how it is, and I hope you enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you guys soon.